Take this job and shove it.
Welcome back. This is Mike Baumgartner, your Work-Life Survival Sage and the Chief Executive Officer of the Work-Life Survival Center. How are you? If you've got a problem with your job, if you need help getting a job or keeping a job, this is your one-stop shop. Check out my website, jobcashradio.com. I have articles, blog posts, videos, all kinds of past shows, episodes, as well as content from a lot of other brilliant individuals, as well as the news of the day for careers, jobs, and all that's going on out there in the real world. In our first segment, we talked a little bit about, talked to those of you who are just starting to get a job. As we mentioned, 244,000 new jobs created in the month of April. The unemployment rate has gone to 9. I think it's going to go a bit higher as we get into summer. Now, remember, some of that 244,000 jobs are summer jobs. A lot of that was in the retail market. A lot of that was in the service industry. That's because people are hoping and praying that this summer might be a little bit profitable. Now, if gas prices stay as high as they are, I think we're going to see a very difficult summer, especially, again, for the hospitality industry, for the service industry, for the fast food folks, burger flippers. I've seen a lot of help wanted signs. I hope they stay there. I hope they fill the jobs. But I don't know. It's going to be a funky summer, definitely a funky summer. I've also seen and heard from a lot of you out there, and I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal talking about what are now being referred to as super jobs. Now, what is a super job? A super job is a job that says, well, essentially I have a job description, but everything I do does not fall into that job description. This is for people who you're working in a restaurant, but you also do the windows and you also do the repairs and change the light bulbs. And you may be saying, hey, I'm a waiter, but the boss says, look, you want your job, you need to be doing these extra assignments as well. Especially since all the layoffs that have happened, a lot of you are doing 2, 3, 4 people's jobs, and a lot of the things in your job are just not in your job description. Job descriptions essentially are made out of sand, and the wind is blowing really, really well. In fact, that quote comes directly from Rich Moran. He's a management consultant whose clients have included Apple, AT&T. And I say it again, job descriptions are written in sand and the wind is blowing. Some workplace experts say super job is the logical next step in management's quest to make the workplace more cost efficient. I'm quoting from an article, Wall Street Journal, super jobs, why you work more and enjoy it less. Now think about this. If the companies, if they want to save on labor, now, so how do we do that? We get you to work more. Now, some companies do that with what we call employee engagement. What does that mean? I like my job. I get the message. I understand what it takes. I enjoy my job, and I know what it needs to make. I know what I need to do to make the company successful, and I'm paid for it. That's employee engagement, when you really are more productive, and the company spends time getting junk off your plate. So if you happen to be an individual who is, say, for example, a waitress or a waiter in a restaurant, and the company's gone out of their way to kind of automate that whole check writing process, it's done quickly because you're not making any money if you're standing there ringing the cash register. You're making money when you're serving the people at the table. Companies invest in that kind of stuff. That's called getting the crap off your plate. And they make your job easier. All that kind of stuff that the company does to eliminate non-value-driven tasks, hey, look, it makes your job easier, you enjoy, you get engaged because you get it. However, there are some companies who say, well, look, I've got you. I know you can do your job in about 2/3 of the day. Let me give you another third of a day's worth of work, or let me give you 2/3 of a day. Let me give you 10 hours of work and tell you got to get it done in 8 hours. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you all the scary stories about people who don't, people who complain, people who whine about it, and now don't have a job. Companies are still playing the fear card, and it is unfortunate, but it is extremely, extremely abused out there. I know that because I hear from you every single day. There are a lot of you out there who are in jobs that, quite frankly, if you weren't so scared that you wouldn't find another job, you would tell that company exactly what they could do with their job. And frankly, I wouldn't blame you. But I also understand that fear. I know that you, let's face it, you have a job. You know you have a job. If the fear of not having a job is absolutely terrifying and overwhelming, I get that. But I want you to think about this for a second. Think about how much you make a week. In fact, those of you, even if you make an annual salary, I want you to figure out what you're getting paid an hour. Those of you who are hourly, you know. Just take a look at your paycheck. But if you're making $50,000 a year, I want you to take that number, divide it by 2080, that's the number of hours you work in a year, and get an hourly rate of what you are paid while you are at work. Now, what I want you to do is to take that math and start figuring out how long it takes you to really do a day's work for your company. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, you get up, you shower, you have an hour and a half commute to work, you go, you work, you eat at your desk, you get into the car at 7:30 at night, you drive an hour and a half to get home. You need to have at least a drink or something and time to quietly unwind before you can actually deal with your family. All of that time, and especially those of you who flip open the laptop when you're at home or you're working at work, those of you who go, you get home at 6, you have dinner with the family, and then you go off into your little home office and answer some emails and do stuff. I want you to take all those hours that you spend doing your job or preparing for your job or decompressing for your job, and I want you now to divide that by your pay, because that's going to give you your hourly rate. Because if it takes you 11 hours a day to get up, get started, get in, get out, and wind down, and you're being paid, say, $10 an hour for 8 hours work, no, you're not. No, you're not. So figure out what that daily rate is divided by the number of hours, and it's going to give you, honestly, what you're trading your life for. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's face it, by the time you finish listening to this radio show, and I thank you, all of you who listen to this show, to the thousands of you who write me every week saying, hey, I like the show. You offer me an hour of your life. It is an hour that I humbly and deeply cherish. You spend time sitting, listening to the show or watching the videos on YouTube. I greatly appreciate that because I know that time you will never get back. Once that second in your life is gone, it's gone. Poof. And if you think about it that way, what the time that you spend in your job is life you will never have back. And you have traded it to your company for the work that you do and the pay that you get. And that may not be worth it. Or it may. Now, if you're one of these individuals who loves their job and you go in and it's all about the people that you work with and it's all about the time you get to spend with them and it's a job you truly enjoy, then the money's worth it. It's great. You enjoy it. Perfect, wonderful, it's worth it to you. But for some of you, it may not be. Maybe, just maybe, you could find a job that makes you work less hours. Maybe they don't pay you as much, but it gives you an extra 3 or 4 hours in your day. And you're not answering emails at night. Maybe that is a better rate of pay than you need. Now, I get it. Money buys freedom. And the more money that you have might buy you a chance to take a trip overseas. It might give you a better vacation. It might give you a comfortable living standards. But if you are all wound up doing your work, you're losing life you will never, ever, ever get back. Now, your job may be worth it. The quiet of the job, the people that you work with may be absolutely worth it. But you need to figure out what those choices are and what that meaning is. Because I tell you right now, at the end of my speaking, in this segment, you will have been listening to me for 10 minutes, and I thank you again, but it is 10 minutes you will never, ever, ever get back. You don't get to tack it on at the end. Think about that. Think about that in terms of your job, because your job must be rewarding. It's got to be worth it, and if it's not worth it, then it's time to find a new job. All that and more here on Jobcash Radio. Again, my number 304-867-4142. My number 304-867-4142. We'll be right back after we pay the bills. Remember, check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, JobcashRadio.com. We'll be back.
Take this job and shut it.